al-Musta'mal. They call it used water. And this term is a legal term in the sense that it is water which has been used, previously used, for removing a state of ritual impurity. Like, for example, water that a person has already used for washing his face and hands and legs or feet, and hands to up to the elbows and wiping his head. He used it actually for ablution, and then it dropped from him. And the Shafi'i actually relied on the statement that the companions of the Messenger ﷺ didn't do that practice, and they were actually in a dire need for water, but they insisted on using fresh water all the time. So this type, and they made a specific definition of this type of water. Number one, it must be actually used. It should be actually the type of water used for uplifting the state of ritual impurity, it has been used for washing the hand. And how to say that this ritual impurity has been uplifted? By washing it the first time. In ablution, it is recommended, it is obligatory to wash the hand one time, or the limbs of ablution one time, and it's recommended to wash it 3 times. So the type of use, water is used when a person uses it for removing the state of ritual impurity, and this ritual impurity is removed by the first time a person washes the hands, not the second or the third. The second and third are not effective, because the effective washing is the first one. And number 2, it has been removed, it has been dropped from the limb of ablution. So as long as the water is on the hand, it cannot be cold water. So you can flow it on your fingers and take the same amount and flow it in the rest of your hands up to the elbows. There is no problem about it. And the 2 hands are regarded as one components or one element of wudu, as we will explain inshallah. This type of water is not permissible according to the Shafi'i school of law to use in ablution, but you can use it in other types of for example, removing dirt or cleaning urine, for example. There is no problem about it. So it is called al-ma' al-musta'mal. The second category of water, which is pure but not purifying. So we explained the first type is al-ma' al-musta'mal, or used water. And number 2, al-ma' al-mutaghayyir, or ma' which it changes. Changed water means a water which has been changed in one of 3 of its attributes. Number 1, if a change occurs in its color, in its taste, or in its smell. So if the water smells differently, or seems differently in its color, or tastes differently, here the water cannot be used at all in ablution. An example for this, this change may be actually by dropping something in the middle of water. Like, for instance, a person puts ink inside the water, or he drops ink is pure, there is no problem. But when it is mixed with the water, it makes it change. It makes a type of a change. This change loses or makes a water lacks one of its or lacks its purity. So it is another example. If a person cooks in that water, like making it a soup, is it permissible to use it in ablution? Or it's like, for example, a juice or a drink, or its color has been changed by putting something pure inside. In this case, the water does not qualify to become purified, to remove the state of ritual impurity, and it cannot be actually used for ablution or for making a ghusl. An example of things that we practice every day, for instance, if a person makes a ritual bath and he puts soap on his body and he uses shampoo, for example, this water mixed with shampoo does not remove the state of janaba. If a person has sexual intercourse and then he is supposed to make a ritual bath, this type of water is not permissible to use, and it does not affect his janaba, because it is a changed water in this case. Such is the case if it is mixed with soup, and if it is mixed with any other pure and clean stuff, but it doesn't. So it is recommended in this case, if a person wants to remove the state of ritual impurity in janaba, etc., he is supposed to purify himself with pure water first from the fusin, and afterwards he can use the soap or the shampoo. Or he may use the shampoo or the soap first, and afterwards he cleans himself with pure water. Such is the case when a person washes a dead body of a Muslim. He is supposed also to use pure and clean water, at least at the first wash, or the first time. Afterwards, he can use any other substances like, which include perfume, etc. So this is the second type of the second category, which is pure, not purified, or the third category. And the last one is al-ma'u najis. It is the water which has been impure, has been called impure or najis. And water is called the najis because it includes a najasa in any of the impure substances, like blood, like urine, like, for example, stool, like, for instance, when a person drops in it the body of a dead animal. So it is something which is impure and it falls in this water. In this case, the scholars of Shafi'iyah classified water into two cases. There are two cases. When a water, first of all, how can we know that the water changed? If there is a change in its color or taste or in its smell. These are the three criteria a person can judge water as been changed. And if a person, so there are two cases of this water. It may be it may be kathir, or it may be what you can call superfluous water, or it is too much water, or it is a small amount of water. And the criterion of classifying it into kathir, or too much and little, is reaching 2 kullas. 2 kullas is estimated by the scholars as 216 liters. This is based on the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he said, إن الماء إذا بلغ قلتين لم يحمل الخبث. If water reaches 2 kullas, it does not carry impurity. So the scholars put it into two cases. If water is above the 2 kullas and it changes by an impurity, so like, for example, a dead animal falls into that big container of water and it changes that, it is impure. It is rendered impure. One way, it is rendered impure. But if it doesn't change it, so it is still pure and a person can use it for his ablution. This is the first case. If water is above the 2 kullas, it is more than 216 liters. If it is less than 216 liters, it becomes a little water. It's termed in Sharia as little water. In this case, the scholars said that in all cases, if there is any type of impurity falls on that water, whether you see it or not, whether it is visible or not, whether it is seen by the eyes, tasted by the tongue, smelled or not, in all cases it is impure. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا بَلَغَ الْمَاءُ قُلَّتَيْنِ, when water reaches 2 kullas, it does not carry impurity. So by the opposite meaning, the scholars concluded that there is an implication in this hadith that if it doesn't reach the 2 kullas, the 216 liters, it carries impurities. Whether this type of filth is physical or not, it is seen, visible, or invisible. So a question is raised. If this type of a change is removed by itself, or it is removed by putting something clean in it, so the scholars said that if it is above the 2 kullas, it is rendered pure and there is no problem about it. The scholars also talked about an estimate of the 2 kullas by distance, that it is actually almost a dhira, cubit, and quarter wide and depth. This is if it is actually in a container, and this is the rule about the four categories of water. So if we conclude them according to what the author said in his summary, that the water is four of four types: pure and purifying, pure and not if offensive, pure purifying but offensive, pure not purifying, and this is of two types: the used water, and the water changes with some pure substances. Number four, impure water, and this is a water which has been rendered impure by falling or dropping something or mix it with something impure. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala